shit.
I think we are on. What's up, G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and you already know this is the Godzilla Block Party, and it is the Godzilla vs. Kong spoiler review. Motherfuckers, we seen the movie. It happened. It came out. I don't even know the last time we did a podcast. I know me and Chase recorded one like 2 weeks ago. I never put it up because it wasn't working on my thing. But this is a live one. I'm not looking at questions. I love all of y'all. If y'all come on, I don't care. We're talking about it. It finally came out. I think the last time I put anything up was the freaking the trailer. But holy shit, we are here. We are here, and I am joined by the OGs of the G Show Podcast. My right hand when it comes to Godzilla on the G Show, my brother Chase, a.k.a. Megzy, a.k.a. G73. What's going on, brother?
Oh, man, just, shaking off all that destruction and shaking from the epicness of the movie last night, seeing it on the biggest screen possible.
Agreed. Also joining us, cannot do this without him because you know what? He's been a thorn in my finger, a bane in my side when it comes to all things Godzilla vs. Kong, the monkey god himself.
Oh, my.
Gamzy1, a.k.a. my brother Drew. Andrew, what's going on?
Oh, I was very happy with the monkey. Big monkey.
Monkey kicked some fucking ass. Look, this is a spoiler review. We're going to go in. There's a lot to break down. But, of course, we're going to start off with our initial reactions because, Gam, you were the first to see the movie. I mean, you didn't wait.
Yeah, I watched it pretty much as soon as it went up on HBO Max at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I hate you so much for that. I wanted to watch it so bad, but I made it. I swore an oath to my brother and said I will not watch it until we go to the theaters and see it. And so we did.
He needs to share his thoughts.
Huh?
Did he like it?
I'll talk to him. So I know we had like conflicting things, but we'll get to that. I haven't spoken to him since we left the theater after the second viewing. But yeah, we'll get into that. But Gam, you were the first one to see it. You, unfortunately, your theaters are still closed in your area. That sucks.
Yeah.
But you've got the setup. You've got the system. Why the fuck not, right? I mean, it's readily available at 1 a.m. your time. You put it on. You watch it. Now, before you say anything, you were totally Team Kong, weren't you?
I was. I was Team Kong for the majority since basically King of the Monsters came out, because I felt that in terms of the Monsterverse, not looking at it as like the rematch that it most definitely was in the grand scheme of things from 1962. Just looking at it in terms of the Monsterverse, Godzilla had too many W's under his belt. I felt like it was high time he got an F.
Ah, gotcha. I see what you're saying there. So he's like, I'm going to use a wrestling analogy. He was like Goldberg in the 90s, and then Kevin Nash, which was King Kong, came in with the taser, or Scott Hall came with a taser, and Kevin Nash powerbombs him and gives him 1 L. All right, I got you. Sorry about that analogy. That was way before your time. Y'all think y'all were just born. But anyhow, I digress. That makes sense. Logic. Okay, no problem. I know we became friends not because of our love for King Kong. That was never even a thing we spoke about when we first met. It was all about Godzilla, but totally respect that opinion. Now, of course, being that you were the first one to see it, your initial gut reaction.
My initial gut reaction to my first viewing, where it was just me and my roommate, right? I was hyped for the monster scenes. But the more that I thought about it after my first viewing, I had a lot of issues, but those issues melted away with subsequent viewings with different people. I watched it with a couple of my coworkers who were not into Godzilla at all, and they loved it, and their energy rubbed off on me. That was my second viewing. My third viewing was by myself. And taking into consideration the general audience reactions and love for this movie and taking it all in, enhanced it even more. And what enhanced it the most was actually my fourth viewing, which was at about 4 o'clock in the morning this morning with my boy. He has a very unique outlook on entertainment and media and life in general. And his observations during the movie, because that fourth viewing with that IRL friend of mine was probably where we talked the most during the movie, and it was all about the movie itself and the observations about the lore and the implications about the Titans' connection to humanity and all of that, and it basically brought Godzilla vs. Kong to be my favorite MonsterVerse movie. It is hands down now my favorite MonsterVerse movie. It is in my top 10 Godzilla movies of all time. Period.
Okay, yeah, I ain't even mad at you with that one. I ain't even mad at you. Chase, I would totally go to you, but you saw it last, so I'm going next. I'm gonna go next. So
I'm the middle child of how I was born, okay? I'm a triplet. I'm middle child. Let me go.
You're going last. You saw it last, you're going last.
I know. Whatever.
So I totally shut everything down. I mean everything down. I shut down Messenger. I shut down Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I was not having it. I was not. Monday, I watched all 3 MonsterVerse movies. Tuesday, I watched King Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 74, and Terror of Mechagodzilla. Because, reasons.
What were those reasons?
I do.
Spoiler podcast. You can say it.
So I was getting into the zone because, like I did with 2019, we watched 2014. We watched Kong Skull Island, and then we went, and then I watched Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster, and then Invasion of Astro Monster. That's how I did it. So did the MonsterVerse movies, and then did the old show of films. So I shut everything down. I have my phone on mute while I'm sleeping. I woke up to however many messages you put up during the night, and I should not have looked that Wednesday morning. But all I saw was you say, "Whoa, boy, I have a lot to say." And that's all I saw, and that's all I needed to fucking make my head explode. Like, damn it, what the fucking shit? Like, oh. Because now I wanted to know what you thought. And the only way I could do that was to watch the movie and then call you up. But I couldn't do any of that, right? Because, again, I swore an oath to my brother. Anyhow, that long story short, I went into the movie, saw it, came out. First round, Dolby Theater. Went in, saw it, came out, put up in the messenger chat, well then. And you were the first one to respond, game. And you said what was my first gut reaction. And I wrote, advertisement for a roller coaster ride. And the reason why I said that on my first viewing is because that's what it felt like. It felt like you were in Universal Studios on one of these fucking rides that was zipping by, like the camera angles were constantly doing it, zipping by Kong's face, there's Kong's eye, there's Kong falling down, there's Kong swinging things. And
there was that fucking fantastic shot with the heave going through Hong Kong, going past Kong's mouth, going fucking
through the building.
Dodging Godzilla's atomic. That would make a great roller coaster ride.
And
or
that's
like one of those like fucking Universal Studios ride where like you're in the thing, you got the screen. It's like that 4D experience where like the whole stage rocks and rolls and gives you that vertigo like a roller coaster.
Yeah. Like that Shin Godzilla ride.
Like Shin Godzilla, like Star Tours, Back to the Future back in the day, The Simpsons, all of that. That's what I felt like. That's what it brought me to. That was my initial gut reaction. For whatever reason, I could not get anything else out of my head but that. I was like, it was a roller coaster ride. It was a fucking roller. That was my first initial reaction. But then, like you, I went downstairs, had a beer, came back up into the theater, watched it for the second time, and all of a sudden, I'm paying attention. Now, don't get me wrong. I had some gripes with it, right? But good God almighty. Now, I'm not going to go as far as saying it is my favorite MonsterVerse movie, but it is my second favorite, right up there. And the third viewing, when I came home and watched it with my family, with my wife and my daughter, that's when I was like, time out. Like, I got up and danced after the third round. You know what I'm talking about. I won't get there. After the third round, I got up and did a fucking dance. I was dancing my living room. Ow! It was just nuts. And then this morning, like you yesterday on your third viewing, this morning on my fourth viewing, I watched it by myself. And I just absorbed everything. And every gripe I had with that movie just washed away. Except for one. And it's a gripe I had with King of the Monsters. But this one is a lot smaller than that. And my gripe, one of my biggest gripes with King of the Monsters, besides the joking, but it was Rodin's Raw. I fucking hated it, and that pissed me off. My only gripe that still stays with me watching this movie for the fourth time, and probably going forward, is they never let Godzilla actually finish his Raw.
They don't let him go do the...
Yes,
I love that initial scream.
Yes, I love that. When Gareth Edwards did that in 2014 on the bridge, and all you heard was that underwater, I was like, game over. That's like the greatest sound in the fucking history of sounds now, right? So that's the one thing I was upset about, because I think they did it twice, maybe 3 times. The first time you seen Godzilla, maybe somewhere later or somewhere in the middle, and at the very end in the credits.
You kind of hear it when Gia has her hand on the
That's the second time. And the third time is at the end credits, after the credits roll. There's nothing at the end, by the way. Spoiler review. So you can totally walk out of the theater, unless you want to hear that the end of Godzilla.
What's funny is because in the trailer, when Jaya puts her hand on the wall, they do that. They do the Godzilla's bellow.
No, it's in the movie.
But in the film, it's very faded.
Yeah, right. But it's there. So Gang's right. So yeah, that's how I felt. That's my only, literally, that's my only complaint about that movie. It's insane. But, so that's my initial gut reaction. It was a roller coaster ride. After my fourth viewing, I'm like, I could watch this every day as long as it's on HBO Max. And I'll probably go to the theater just to see if I can find a fucking cup. But that being said, Brother Chase, you were the last of us to see it. Yet, I'm pretty sure you knew the most about this movie without going into spoilerific details. I know for a fact you knew the most about this movie because I had to tell you to chill out in Messenger. Y'all don't post nothing else. Just stop it all. So, you go in.
I'll admit.
Your gut reaction.
I'll admit, I may have found out who was the winner between Godzilla and versus Kong a little bit early because I was curious.
See?
So I'm glad I did.
Your anxiety would have been through the fucking roof if you didn't.
In all seriousness, it was spoiled to me by fucking Instagram, and I'm not happy about it. I got to learn that when these things come out, to stay off Instagram when it comes out to the next couple of weeks when the films start debuting. But I apologize because my voice is going in and out, having a lot of allergy issues, and I've been screaming a lot. But my voice is going in and out. But no, my viewing last night was phenomenal because I had my mother with me and I had my girl with me. She's never seen a Godzilla movie before. And she was like, I want to go with you because it looks cool. I want to go and have fun, and I know you love Godzilla and I want to give it a shot. What was really cool about my viewing last night is it was a sold out theater. Now, it wasn't full capacity, it was about 25%, but it was sold out. There's people filling seats. And it was cool because it's one of those things where it's the energy when you walk in. It was just Godzilla fans last night. All Godzilla fans in my theater. Nobody was there seeing anything else. It was just Godzilla. Everything on the screen, everything people were watching was Godzilla. And right when the film started, the screen was glitching, like flashing red lights on the screen. Oh. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying to see this. So everyone's all booing and shit. And I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna sit here. No one's getting up. So I got up and I went and told the manager, and he came and fixed it. I'm like, yes, now I'm the savior of the MonsterVerse. My girl was happy with that. My mom was happy with that, and everyone in the backseat was like, "Oh, thank you." And I'm like, "Cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, now I'm the celebrity in the theater." But it was I haven't seen it. I've only seen it once, and I plan to see it again. I want to give as much money to this box office as possible. I want to do whatever I can to show my love and support. But man, I love this movie, start to finish. I'm glad I did not cringe at any of these jokes.
Yes.
Clap, clap, clap.
It was actually well written humor on that King of the Monsters.
Yeah, I love
Right.
the Ronnie Chang. I love the Ronnie Chang segment when he's like, this isn't one of those internet challenges again, because if I knew I was going to be selling those kids those Tide Pods or eating them, I would have done it. I love that.
If there was the corporate friendly term for a sacrifice pit, we're in it.
No, I loved just this film's energy, man. This film, that the scene when Godzilla comes to attack Kong the first time, I mean, holy moly, dude! When Godzilla constricted Kong with his tail, my me and my girl both our jaws dropped. We're like, holy crap, he can do that! He just went full anaconda, and that was like one of the coolest things. And it was interesting seeing Godzilla do different things. Like when he was blind, watching him crawl on, it looked like he was crawling on all fours after he was like getting blinded for a minute when they were in Hong Kong. But that's kind of different detail. But the drive of this film was just so much fun for me. It was an action-packed adrenaline ride, and I wasn't bored at any point. And I loved the equal. I will stand and say, like, this felt more like a Kong movie with Godzilla in it, and I for some reason I don't mind that, because every time Kong and Jaya were on the screen, I was in love. My girl was like, she's like, one of the things that was kind of interesting is like, and I like this better, is I like the Kong and little kid duo instead of Kong and the blonde girl duo. And I'm like, well, you're blonde, shut up.
You know what makes that work so well is the fact that it's not, anytime Kong is with an Andaro or an Andaro-esque character, there's a, it's an implied sexual thing, right? Even though it's a giant ape and she's a petite woman. You can't do that here. This is more Kong being that, what they set up in Skull Island, that benevolent king, that benevolent god figure, looking out for the Iwis. And, so I love the dynamic between Kong and Jaya. I call her Gia, but Jaya works. I like Jaya more, actually.
Yeah. So, like I said, I had fun with that. I loved just this. It feels like to me this universe is just. I mean, that's going past my initial reaction.
Yeah,
but, my initial reaction to this, man, was I had a blast, and I can't wait to go back, and I can't wait to watch it on HBO Max. I'm probably gonna watch it in theaters, go back home, watch HBO Max. See how it is. By myself. Do like everything you guys said. But I loved it. It was everything I wanted to be. I don't think I have anything. I mean, maybe a little bit of closure with Godzilla. Maybe they could have had a little something else with Godzilla. But other than that, I mean, I enjoyed the minimal characters that were in it. I kind of wish they elaborated more on a certain characters, because like Ren Sarazawa, they kind of need to explain who he really is.
Yeah, it just went right over everything.
That is one of my few gripes is Ren Sarazawa could have been named anything else and the plot wouldn't change.
Absolutely.
Right. And the thing is, Ren Sarazawa apparently was supposed to be like Sarazawa's son. And it would have made the movie so much more...
With that
hold on. It would have made the movie so much more emotionally driven if they explain, this is Ren Sarazawa. He's wanting to kill Godzilla because he resents his father spending so much time trying to follow Godzilla. That would have made so much more sense. I would have loved that. But they didn't explain anything like that, and it kind of just was kind of like, oh, he's just Ren Sarazawa. And he's just a Sarazawa. He's not anything significant. So, that was kind of a bummer. But, it is what it is.
Gambian, what you thought about that?
Like I said, they did nothing with the Sarazawa name, and I really wish that, at least for that particular character, they had just a little bit more motivation behind him piloting the tin can.
The tin can. Oh. talk about homages.
The shredded beer bottle can, the shredded beer can.
Talk about homages. When that third act starts up, I'm like, wait. I know everything they're doing here, but we're gonna get to all that. All right. So that was our gut reactions on our initial views. Gam, you were kind of like, huh? Right? Like in the middle,
Yeah.
it seems.
I had a lot of gripes with particularly just the human element, but once I got to that fourth viewing, everything kind of opened up to me, looking at it almost thematically, right? Because, like, take the human villains, for example. Yes, they're pretty one note, but they serve the purpose of showing off what is, in my opinion, the ultimate folly of mankind. It like the tin can is literally mankind's folly manifest.
Yep.
Because they tried to supersede the Titans and rushed into production this unstable energy source that they had no idea what it even does or what it can do. And it blows up in their face, and it creates a doomsday weapon that, if Godzilla and Kong don't stop it, it will end the world as we know it.
How did that lyric go? History shows again and again how nature points out the folly of man.
Exactly.
Dude, they took that line from that song and made a movie around it. That's what it's like. No, I'll tell you right now, I agree 100%. The whole Serizawa thing, completely wasted. That he didn't even need to be Serizawa, and it doesn't change the plot one bit. But I loved, because to me, they're not villains. I mean, that's what they are villains, but they weren't villains. To me, they were just egotistical, like, man rules the world, and we are the alpha. I loved that. We're going to get rid of Godzilla. Because let me tell you something. I had it completely all wrong. Before the movie started, I go to my brother and I go, because I just watched, earlier yesterday morning, I just watched Godzilla vs. Godzilla 74. I go, bro, I think this is going to be a remake of that movie. And that first trailer, the only trailer I watched, kind of gave me that idea, that vibe, I mean, again.
And you went in with that expectation.
Right. All the vibes were in that trailer. The very first shot of that trailer was the Black Mountain blowing up. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. And I will say real quick as a side note, watching Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla yesterday morning for the first time in a while, last time I saw it, I really wasn't on board. That movie is dope, man. That movie is fucking dope. I was sitting there like...
Finally.
Yeah, I was like...
I was so sad when you said you didn't like that movie.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, wait, what are these feelings? This movie's good. Now, I love Terror of Mechagodzilla better, because there's just history behind that one.
That movie is cooler.
But yeah, this one, oh my God, this one rocked on every level. But aside from that, I tell my brother, I said, I think there's going to be a sequel. I mean, a remake of that movie. I'm going to tell you why. I said, check it out. Kong's replacing another king, King Caesar, right? Boom. Mechagodzilla's in it. They're showing the thing. I said, Anguirus ain't in it, but Rodan the fuck is. So why can't they show... Because I was still in the belief that wasn't Godzilla causing all that ruckus. I was still under the belief that it was a Mechagodzilla in a skin suit because of the King Ghidorah regenerative abilities.
You and I both.
Yeah, you went in with that expectation, and it was proven wrong.
Oh, completely. Oh, yeah. No, and I think that's probably why when I walked out the first time, I was like, scratching my head. But I loved what they did, because again, just like 2014, and this is why I love these two movies. I went in thinking one thing, they gave me something else, and I was, at the end of the day, like, well, fuck me. That was dope. It was better than what I would have done. Because I was like, Anguirus, that's going to be Rodan. We're going to see Rodan get killed by Mechagodzilla. He'll take the place of Anguirus. And in '93, it was Mechagodzilla that blasted him with the plasma cannon and basically killed Rodan. So I'm okay with all of this, right? I was totally fine. Boom. Nope, not in the slightest. Because and this, I know a lot of people had problems with this. JR being one of them, but that'll be a podcast for another day, maybe tomorrow. The intro to that movie, when they show all the Titans that Kong and Godzilla had defeated, and then they see Godzilla kept going, and I saw Rodan on that defeated list, that hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, wait, you're not gonna show the what the fuck?
Okay,
I thought he went into a volcano.
Think about it like this, okay? What if, like, the defeated, yeah, you see Ghidorah under the defeated list, and he's fucking dead. But defeated doesn't necessarily mean killed.
Right.
Defeated doesn't necessarily mean they fought. It could just be that he's considered defeated because he bowed to Godzilla.
I don't know. That was too definitive. That defeated, you know what I mean? In big bold words.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll show something with the prequel comics.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean,
How Godzilla defeated all this.
That's what I think Godzilla Dominion is.
I kind of see the same thing. It's like, it's not like Godzilla didn't even touch Rodan in King of the Monsters. That's the problem. So how did he get defeated by Godzilla?
Well, you got to remember, King of the Monsters in this movie is a 5-year gap in between.
Yeah,
Right.
this movie I think is set in 2024.
Yeah, because they said it was 10 years after Godzilla first appeared.
There's a lot of shit that in those. And this is why I'm a little upset with Mike Doherty. You know, he said everything that you need to know is in the post-credit scene of King of the Monster and then credit scenes. A lot of that stuff they talked about in the end credit scenes of King of the Monsters didn't have any relevance in Godzilla vs. Kong at all. I mean, there's a lot of information where we're just like, well, what the hell's going on? You know, and it makes me wonder, maybe that was a lot of stuff they rewrote. You know, I mean, who knows?
Either rewrote or cut out.
Cut out.
There was a lot of fat cut from this movie.
Oh yeah, they trimmed. They did, and I will say,
And you could tell.
agreed with both of y'all. My major gripe with King of the Monsters and watching it again on Monday, I was like, oh God, this is the fucking jokes. I am so happy, and I explained it like this to my friend. I said, in King of the Monsters, you had really bad jokes. I mean, like jokes that does not hit. When they say King Ghidorah's name for the first time and call him Ghidorah, the guy says gonorrhea. You're putting down decades of history with Godzilla's greatest foe, and you're turning him into a fucking crotch itch. That's bullshit. It pissed me off, right?
It's like a really bad fart joke.
Right. But whereas this one, the jokes might be corny, but it seemed like they were fair. They were like kind of aimed for kids almost. You know what I'm saying?
They were a little bit tasteful.
They played the jokes safe, and I respected that they did it because I got a chuckle at a lot of stuff. For instance, when they walk into Mechagodzilla's lair for the first time, and
he screams.
Come on,
Yeah.
how fucking funny! Like the entire theater, both times I was there, erupted. Last night watching it with my daughter and my wife, cracked up. It was just so funny.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, exactly. That to me is campy, but in a good way. Whereas what they were trying to do in the King of the Monsters, it ruined the movie.
My thing is, like, when they do stuff like that, it doesn't take away from the seriousness enough. And I mean that in a good way. Like, when they can do jokes like that's the type of stuff that I mind in movies, you know, when it's like, when it is campy, but it's not, like, cringy, because it's like, it keeps that tone. Like, this movie held its tone pretty well.
Absolutely.
And when those campy jokes came in, it didn't ruin that tone. It went right after that joke made, it went right back to that tone.
Speaking
I like that.
Speaking of jokes being made, and me and you, Chase, we were on the same page. We weren't really, like, with the addition of Julian Dennison. I gotta be honest with you.
He didn't bother me.
Yeah, I had zero problems with him. I actually liked him in this movie. I hated him in Deadpool 2. But in this movie, he was me. Like, you know, I felt him. I was
like at the end, that final joke. Shut up, Josh.
Shut up, Josh. Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
I will say I was a little disappointed. Monarch didn't get any burn.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that Monarch didn't have enough of a presence in GVK,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't do enough with the fact that Mark is now the director of Monarch.
You wouldn't even
Big
know.
role. That's a big role to fill, and the only thing that they do with it is have the main guy from Apex go, "Oh, you're Director Russell's daughter."
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
you know what's funny is in the cast listing, Lance Riddick actually is the Monarch director. And he was supposed to have a really huge part, and they scrapped it. And
He's
that's
in
why
one
you only see him
second
in
of
that
that
1
movie.
second
Yeah,
split.
1 second. He's actually in 2 shots. One scene where he actually talks. That's like 1.5 seconds, and then the next scene, it's like maybe 5 minutes after that, 10 minutes after that. I think when
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla comes.
Which character are we talking about?
Lance Riddick's character.
What did he say?
He was.
I don't remember what he said, but he was black guy.
Yeah,
So he was the guy who was like, everything is going according to plan. The city is being evacuated.
Well, yeah, but he
Yeah,
didn't say it
that
like
guy.
that. But
Yeah,
that guy,
yeah,
I love
yeah.
that guy.
Okay.
The guy from John Wick.
His listing is Monarch director on the cast listing, and I don't think Mark Russell actually had one, but and that's one thing is I would have loved more stuff with Lance Riddick. I was kind of when I heard he was going to be in the film, I thought he was going to be a villain, or on the Apex side. But I was glad he's on Monarch. And the thing is, it's almost like a Men in Black type thing, and it's like I'm excited because if they do plan to expand this universe with what they've done, I would love to see Lance Riddick in more of these, and then actually get more of an establishment. I think that'd be cool.
Time out real quick because you just said that something I wanted to say, and I should have said it at the top of the podcast. Hashtag continue the Monsterverse. Stop.
Yes.
You cannot, after this movie, just stop it here. Hashtag continue the Monsterverse. Get that shit out there. Everybody listening. Hashtag continue the Monsterverse. Seriously.
Hashtag.
And I want to just give a shout out real quick to Overseas right now.
I still feel, even after watching the movie, that even if Legendary decides not to keep Godzilla, I feel like the Monsterverse could still be carried by Kong.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
If they have Jaya. If they don't have Jaya, I don't think so.
I think it will. With a Hollow Earth, where the center of the Earth.
Yeah, the Hollow Earth literally blew the Monsterverse wide open.
Wide open.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I think that's what their plan was. Could you imagine when they're going through the Monsterverse, if they open up a Pacific Rim type thing, open another portal to another dimension, monsters come through.
Okay, let's talk about this real quick. Because I
honestly think though, with how it's doing overseas, which, like I said, I want to give a shout out to China and over there giving it 140 million. It's just its opening weekend. I mean, that's great for overseas, especially during this pandemic. If they do plan to continue it, I think Toho would surely be in the talks of keeping Godzilla.
I think so too.
With this universe, I think we wouldn't see the last of it, especially after that ending where Godzilla just shies away. I mean, they're gonna. I think they could open it up to a really badass. Have Godzilla return to something really cool.
Yeah, guess what? The next Toho Godzilla movie is gonna be that PS4 game where the legendary Godzilla's in it. I'm telling you right now. Hear me out. It's happening. Toho knows what they're doing.
Hold on just 1 second. I have one big question for both of you. What the hell happened in that scene when Godzilla is drilling a hole into the Hollow Earth?
He's using his atomic gun.
Not only is that badass, but the thing is that how powerful legendary Godzilla is? How come he didn't kill King Ghidorah with his breath like that? Right through the chest. Should have happened.
Because he's still kind of supercharged from that nuke and Mothra's sacrifice. He's still juiced up.
And if anything, I think he's getting stronger. It's been 5 years,
But literally, I'm glad you talked about that.
He's bigger. He grew.
Favorite scene in the movie for Godzilla and Kong, basically as characters.
That was one of the funniest scenes between those two too.
You see, after Godzilla fully finishes burrowing his way through to the center of the earth just to get to Kong. You hear him roar in such a way that it literally you can literally hear Godzilla like almost talking, saying, "Get the fuck up here!"
Yeah. Or stay the fuck down. Don't even come up here.
Yeah.
He's
But he
warning
blew
him.
up that mural, that Godzilla mural. He went
blew it
straight
up
down
and
and
he was
destroyed
just
it.
like, "Get up here right now. I've sensed that axe. I do not like what you're doing. Get up here now."
Yeah, let me tell you, I remember when we were talking about the trailer, and I was so stoked about that. What the hell is on the floor? Why is there a glowing Godzilla fossil on the floor that Kong's standing on? Man, that to me was the equivalent of a freaking bear rug, like a grizzly bear or a tiger rug. I was like, huh, the motherfucking Kongs made Godzilla a fucking throw rug. No, we can't play that. No, we can't have none of that. Oh, I was mad. Oh, I was mad. I mean, it's not a gripe, but I was like, what the hell? That's not, especially, and this is what I love, when Kong gets the axe, and I'm glad I told you not to say anything else, Chase, because you knew already. When Kong gets the axe out of the skull of the fallen Godzilla in the Hollow Earth. First off, what I love so much was, look at that skull. It's one of the first things you see in the entire MonsterVerse. Because in the intro to 2014's Godzilla, they show that Godzilla skeleton. Oh, I love this movie. I love it. So much attention to detail, the little things. Yes.
And if you notice, when he placed the axe and made that little mural thing, all of the spines on that Godzilla mural are other axes. There's more than one axe.
I didn't peep that. My brother was like, "You didn't see that?" I'm like, "Oh shit!"
It's like a weapon armory for Kongs.
Exactly. I'm thinking that they killed probably the toughest Godzilla there, and out of respect, ripped this, took the spines out and made weapons, and that was it. I mean, that's what it looked like. But I will say this. When Kong walks into Mordor, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
With the ring.
Yeah. I was confused because I'm like, wait a minute. This shit looks alien. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what the
Well, he fights aliens. You see it.
Oh, he does fight an alien, technically, and I love that. Oh, we'll get to that. I love that. Because again,
the Warbats.
Whoa, did you peep though? Did y'all check that out? In the Hollow Earth, it looks like all of those things, with the exception of the crabs, which I thought was a dope callback, because you see those crab things that came up with.
Oh my god. The little lizard that eats one of the crabs, he is the adorablest little boy.
Is that like a little nod to the thing in Peter Jackson's Kong? Was that a little nod to the lizards in Peter Jackson's Kong?
Not only a nod to Peter Jackson's
Kong. It has to be.
No.
Because there's so many Easter eggs in this
33. 33. The year Kong came out, I love it. Level 33. Those were, if I'm not mistaken, those were the deleted sequences of the Spider Pit. Those monsters were in the Spider Pit. They only used one, the Skull Crawler, for Skull Island. So I was like, oh my god, this is legit the Spider Pit. They're in a Hollow Earth. They're all the way now.
Yeah.
So I loved it. But did you peep it? This is the one thing I was like, wait a minute. With the exception of those crab-like creatures, the lizard, I really can't say much of the Warbat, but those bird
Hellhawks.
The Hellhawks, that's what they're called.
Hellhawks.
They all have Godzilla spines. Take a look at that. They all have the 2014 versions. The ones that are not profound and
I need to watch that scene again because I did not notice that. Dude, actually.
Look at those things, and I was like, "Holy shit!" It's like
the only thing I was paying attention to with the Hellhawks is their faces, because they are ugly. They are
look like Mitch McConnell.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
And I swear to God, the little shot where one of the Hellhawks is like looking directly at the camera, that looked practical.
It did.
That does not look like CGI.
It did look practical. You're right. It really did. And I didn't notice that until I saw it at home, and I was like, oh. But
I don't know who was a part of this, like, all together with this Godzilla film, with this MonsterVerse film, but I'd say bring them all back for another. I would love to see Wingard come back and do more.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
I would love to.
And I own it. Hold on. I owe Wingard an apology because I did not think he would do the job he did. And I apologize, and I'm glad I was wrong.
Right?
What was that?
Huh?
Because of Netflix's Death Note, right?
No, I love Death Note. I love that. I love that movie. I watched that and I loved it.
I didn't see it.
I thought it was cool.
This is my
but
first.
Again, I don't watch the anime. I just wanted to watch something cool because I love Willem Dafoe, and I like that.
Hey, that's perfectly fine. But in all honesty, I would not mind if Adam Wingard became like the regular director of the MonsterVerse, because they've been going from director to director, trying to find that director who would have that spark to bring the MonsterVerse to its own.
Yeah, Mike Doherty added too much sugar.
Yeah, Adam Wingard, you're right. I agree. Now, personally, and just me, like I said, my favorite MonsterVerse movie is still 2014, the original, because it was grounded in reality. If you notice, every subsequent movie kind of went off. This
movie went full sci-fi.
Yeah, this one is a complete seesaw. This one is the opposite, but it worked in every single way because, again, the jokes, and that was a big word for me, but the jokes weren't bad, but the story never got out of control goofy, you know?
Yeah.
King of the Monsters is kind of all over the place. King of the Monsters is kind of all over the place.
Godzilla vs. Kong had a good flow from beginning to end. It felt like it trying to make up the words to express this. It felt like a complete story.
Yeah.
You know?
And it did something. It did one thing different from the previous 3 movies. It did not kill a main character. I mean, maybe you could say Isaac Gonzalez. I don't know. But
I'm glad she died.
It did not kill a main character.
It's not. No.
And that's the one thing that's my only gripe with 2014. Is like, they killed Bryan Cranston. No, keep him. What the fuck? He's the best part. What the fuck? Like, he was the best part of the movie up until Godzilla kicks ass at the end. By the way, 4K Godzilla 2014. Yeah, oh my God. There's a difference in visuals. You can see everything. And the sound is amazing. I just want to throw it out there as a plug. But they, Bryan Cranston, King of the in 2014, Randa, oh my God, John Goodman.
Practically everybody in Skull Island.
Pretty much. But Randa was the big guy. John Goodman was the big one. You know what I mean? Like, he was Monarch.
Really? See, the one that gets me the most.
I'd say the 2 big deaths were John Goodman and Samuel L. Jackson's characters.
No, to me, Shea Winghams was sad for me.
Who's Shea Winghams?
When he opens those grenades to sacrifice himself, the school car, that one gets me.
You know why?
The reason why is because I feel like they were trying to play him as a homeless vet. Because the part when he asks, "You have a bed, right?"
That's funny.
And he has an answer. And he's going a little crazy. I think he's a homeless vet, and that kind of gets me a little bit.
Well, he wasn't a homeless vet because he was still in Vietnam at the time. But I digress. What I'm saying is, as far as big name actors goes, because I didn't even know that guy's name, to be honest with you. But you know who John Goodman is. You know who Samuel L. Jackson is. Samuel L. Jackson was going to die regardless. He was dead. He was a bad guy. But John Goodman was what Bryan Cranston was. Oh, shit, really? They killed that guy? And then in King of the Monsters, I mean, you kind of saw it coming, but you didn't see when Serizawa's partner got eaten.
Yeah, that was kind of a fart.
And it was terribly, and it was terribly done. It was kind of like
no emotional weight at all.
It was Han Solo getting chucked off the fucking the platform in episode 7. It was terrible. It was like, what the fuck is this? And then Serizawa, of course, doing the sacrifice. It was like, oh, you needed the names. So, like, let's just say, oh, even Vera for me. Well, she needed to die too. But in this movie, nobody bought it. Nobody of significance bought it. Could you imagine if they would have killed Millie Bobby Brown? That would have been equivalent. You're like, what the fuck? Or even Kyle Chandler.
And it was kind of nice they didn't do that.
Absolutely, and that's what I really kind of dug. that they, again, 2014 is so bound in realism. This one was oh my god, you know what this was for me? This was fucking Final Wars. Everybody hates Final Wars. You know why I love it? Because it's a mosh of all of these different movies and genres rolled into a Godzilla movie. You had Star Wars, The Matrix, the fucking Independence Day, Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters. It was nuts.
And Terminator.
And Terminator. Wait, where was Terminator in Final Wars?
Oh, I was just kidding. I mean, I thought you were talking about GBK.
April Fools. But, you know, it had all that shit rolled in. Same thing here. This went crazy sci-fi with the heaves, right? Like, it was extremely sci-fi. Mechagodzilla. Then it went complete fantasy. Next thing you know, we're on Pandora in the Avatar world. I was like, what the fuck is going on? There's floating rocks in the middle of the air. Like, this was nuts. And it fucking blew my mind.
I love that Kong got to play a space monkey for a little bit, jumping through the gravity fields. Need a little astronaut helmet, a little Planet of the Apes stuff right there.
It was so dope.
Let me mention that looking back on King of the Monsters in particular, yes, it had the recognizable Ifukube and fucking monster theme and all that.
Wait,
and
before you go on.
That soundtrack.
Hang on, before you go on.
Soundtrack.
Before you go on.
Oh my god.
Wait.
Junkie XL fucking killed it.
See, wait.
Sound mixing. You can fucking feel that music.
See, where I start with, ladies and gentlemen. When I introduced my man here, Gam Z1, my brother Drew, I said he was a thorn in my finger, all that shit, thorn in my side, because a messenger, when brother Chase sent us that music, this motherfucker here was like, it sucks.
The music by itself, I felt was lacking. But once you put it in the context of the movie,
that's my new favorite Godzilla theme.
It did mesh well with the rhythm of the film, I will say. Whereas Bear McCreary's kind of was just so grand, it was kind of oversaturated.
It was pretentious. Bear McCreary's soundtrack is pretentious. Because when I was watching this movie, and JR makes a point, and I'm gonna post that hopefully tomorrow. JR makes a point in his review. He calls it Tron. He said Godzilla versus Tron. I agreed with that in certain aspects, because I was like, again, the sci-fi, all that shit, there was a lot of Tron. The music went into this funky techno Blade Runner style sound that I absolutely adore, that ambience. But then when Godzilla's on screen, it feels like like classic Godzilla music, like that theme.
Yes.
That theme.
That motif turned absolutely brilliant when paired with the visuals of the film.
Yep. And I said this before, and I say it again, and I just watched it on Monday. Bear McCreary, you know what the problem was? He couldn't just leave the theme alone. I mean, granted, he did amplify and make it kind of hype, but to me, I hated the chanting. Dun dun dun. No. Get that shit the fuck out of here.
I love that part when he comes to Boston. I do. When it falls around, because it adds that emotional, like, Godzilla's gonna whoop you.
Yeah, but they're not adding all that chanting. It's just the theme. It's just the theme with the bass being loud as fuck.
Yeah.
But the chanting, the actual people in the studio going, no. And this right here, this soundtrack proved you didn't need none of that. Bear McCreary's soundtrack was very pretentious. And it makes me look at Godzilla King of the Monsters as a very pretentious movie. And that's the thing that pisses me off with that movie. It's like...
Well, it kind of is, though.
And that's the problem. I mean, it's not my least favorite MonsterVerse movie.
Unfortunately, last night when I was watching Godzilla vs. Kong, I almost felt like King of the Monsters could have been a throwaway. Like, he didn't need it. He didn't need it anymore. And Godzilla versus Kong should have been the second one, and but the thing is, the only part that doesn't make sense is Millie Bobby Brown and Mark Russell.
No,
but other than that, you could have done anything else.
Nope.
With it.
You needed the payoff to the end credit sequence, and we got it in spades. King Ghidorah's head. We got Kevin. And let me tell you something.
Like literally, Mechagodzilla was both Mechagodzilla and Mecha King Ghidorah.
Yes!
At the same time.
It was
so we were all
when he became I loved it when he became self-aware.
With our Godzilla King of the Monsters predictions after we saw it with our King of the Monsters review.
Let me tell you something. Yeah. Remember, I think we were talking about Mecha King Ghidorah before also. All I'm saying is Mecha King Ghidorah is in this movie in one shape, way, or form. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I just love the idea of King Ghidorah becoming self-aware in Mechagodzilla's body.
But it was.
I love that.
It's a multi-layered Mechagodzilla.
Yes.
You got classic. You got the classic evil 1974 Mechagodzilla.
Yep.
You got Mecha King Ghidorah because King Ghidorah is in control.
Yep.
You got fucking Kiryu because it's a biological mech.
Yep.
Going haywire.
Who goes self-aware. That's what, it was Mecha King Ghidorah and Kiryu rolled up into one. I loved it. And I'm not even a fan of those Kiryu movies, but oh my God, did I love it.
And the thing is, I loved that Mechagodzilla design. I didn't think I would, but I loved it. Did you notice it was bigger than Godzilla?
Let's talk about this.
Bigger. It was more agile and everything, and I loved it. It was like, man, this thing is, man, when Godzilla and Kong they kind of, do their little buddy team up. When Godzilla charges that axe, I'm like, oh my Lord, that's cool.
Let's talk about this guy, because in the beginning of this podcast, y'all were calling it shredded cans, tin can, whatever.
And that's just my playful nickname for Godzilla.
No, okay, no, that's what I'm cool with all that, because when I saw the design in the toys, I was like, what the fuck is this, right? And I literally stayed away from everything because I didn't want to see that until I saw it through the movie, right? So when Mechagodzilla comes up and he kind of unfurls, pretty much he unfolds and then roars that, oh my God. So my brother, I'll just real quick, addendum, whatever the fuck. My brother, when he calls me, his ringtone is Kiryu. It's that Mechagodzilla roar. I'm changing it. As soon as I could get a sound bite of that Mechagodzilla, but the first time he roars, because that's the only time he roars Godzilla. If y'all peeped it, when he comes out of the mountain and he roars, it sounds like a Mecha King Ghidorah. I'm just saying. And I loved it.
Godzilla's roars in this were fantastic. You got the mechanical update, like filtered mechanical Godzilla roar, like version of the 2014 roar in Mechagodzilla when he first wakes up. But then you get the metallified King Ghidorah roar when King Ghidorah takes over. It's so good. This is literally, and I love you, Toho. I do. This is my favorite Mechagodzilla.
Oh.
Hashtag sorry not sorry. This is my favorite version of Mechagodzilla.
Team Mechagodzilla over here. Oh. That is, dude, I swear to God, I did not think that was coming. Because it's not my favorite Mechagodzilla, and I'll tell you why. It's still going to be the OG. But what I loved about this Mechagodzilla, the offensive weaponry. And I've said this a million times on the Godzilla Block Party in regards to Mechagodzilla. Whether it's 74.5, whether it's 93, whether it's Kiryu in both times, Mechagodzilla needs to have a powerful fucking offensive weapons, right? It just gotta be. From finger and toe missiles to the freaking plasma grenade, right?
And when he annihilates that skull crawler.
Right, with the super atomic breath. That was another thing too. I was like, man, if only there was a little bit of a purple spiral, that could absolutely be the Mecha King Ghidorah Corona Beam. But I digress. This thing had concussion missiles shooting out of the shoulders. Holy shit! It was shooting out of the shoulders. And I was like, but where's the finger missiles? Oh, we're not giving you that. We're giving you plasma punches and plasma kicks. I was like, oh shit, bro.
And like,
Oh,
he did the classic thing that Kiryu did not do, but every other Mechagodzilla did, which is have a beam clash with Godzilla.
Yes, I was so hoping we would get one of those in the MonsterVerse. We finally did. I just kind of wish Godzilla would have won it.
Well, I mean,
that's actually a question I had though. Are you guys satisfied though with Mechagodzilla getting the beat on Godzilla and Kong helping, or are you guys kind of disappointed with that?
All right, you know what?
Thematically, it works because Mechagodzilla is supposed to be this fucking apocalyptic doomsday device that went haywire and is about to annihilate the world. And Godzilla is just on the ropes getting his ass kicked. Mechagodzilla could not be defeated by Godzilla and Kong alone. Yeah. They needed to team up.
I agree. And my thing is, King Ghidorah might be the most popular Godzilla enemy, but King Ghidorah has never, ever killed Godzilla. But Mechagodzilla has. Mechagodzilla has brought Godzilla to the brink several times. And this movie, he did it again. In 1973, when they do the beam clash and it blows up, Godzilla falls into the fucking water and blood starts pouring out like Jaws just ate him, right? In 1993, Mechagodzilla, he fucking killed Godzilla. If it wasn't for Rodan, he killed him. He killed Godzilla. He fucking killed him. He's dead, right? And then Kiryu, even though Mothra cocooned him, but Kiryu drowned. I don't want to say drowned, but I mean Kiryu decimated Godzilla first. He put with the absolute zero.
The reason Godzilla had that scar.
Right. He put that scar on his chest, and then the drill claw. The drill claw. He drilled through Godzilla when he was in, cocoon in the silk. Mechagodzilla is Godzilla's deadliest foe, hands down, and nobody can argue with me because it's facts. It's facts. Yeah. Toho did it 3 times. 3 times. Every time they resurrected Mechagodzilla fucks Godzilla up. This Mechagodzilla, Godzilla got one shot off. One, right at the beginning. And that was kind of, when Godzilla, and I love that shit, when Godzilla actually ran, I mean, like, better than he ran at King Ghidorah, he
seemed a little more slim.
Bro, he went in. I was like, ow! This Mechagodzilla was put, there's that one scene that I fucking love, okay? Everybody here in this podcast knows the reason why I love Godzilla movies is shit blows up, shit gets destroyed, shit blows up, and giant monsters, right? Wow. They decimated Hong Kong. Yo.
Hong Kong is gone.
Yo. King Kong and Godzilla fucked up this side of Hong Kong. Mechagodzilla comes out, and then he basically destroyed every fucking thing with Godzilla's body. He put Godzilla in that one shot through 3 fucking buildings, and it's one of my favorite shots in the entire MonsterVerse.
Godzilla slamming Godzilla's head, and you see like the chairs move around from the impact. And then you finally get that final payoff with Godzilla's head going right towards the camera, going through that window.
Can we just add that? From now on, can we have MonsterVerse movies in the daytime?
And let me tell you something.
I think this movie proved that you can do it.
Like 3 good daytime fights. The first round with Godzilla and Kong, Kong versus the Warbats, and then the final Mechagodzilla fight. All glorious daytime, fully visible, no rain, no weather, no fog, no nothing.
No.
You see it.
Now
no cloud skies.
Now here's the thing I was going to tell you from the beginning. So I seen this movie the first 2 times in the Dolby Theater. Now, the reason, of course, why I chose Dolby is because when I saw King of the Monsters in Dolby, it blew my fucking head
my
off.
theater was Dolby too. I loved it.
Loved it, right? I'm watching it in Dolby yesterday, first 2 times. The theater is rocking. The sound is amazing. I'm like, yeah, something seems wrong. I came home. Now, I don't have Dolby Theater sound in my house, but I've got a very good sound bar. A very, very good sound bar. So I put that shit up to 25 and it was boom, But Godzilla vs. Kong is streaming in 4K on HBO Max. That shit popped out of my fucking television like it was a fucking hologram, and I was watching it right on my floor. It was insane. I was like, oh, I told my wife, I was like, I paused it. I was like, oh, this shit looks better than it did in the Dolby. So I don't, again, you know, the past year with the pandemic and the fucking smog monster flying around, it sucked. I don't know if they had a Dolby copy, because I think Dolby is 8K. I don't know if they had that 8K copy of Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, it didn't matter. I enjoyed it, but at home, I'm telling you, and I'm not lying when I say this. I would watch this like every day if I could, but I will definitely watch this at least twice a week. At least twice a week. I'll put this shit on my television while I'm trying to go to bed. That's how much I fucking love this movie and the way it looked. But it really blew my head off watching it at home. Granted,
and the good news is they already announced apparently a Steelbook's coming out in June. So.
And so I'm excited for that. Well, I will say though, there was this one shot though that I was like, oof, on the TV, and I got a good sized TV, but it doesn't compare to the big screen. When Godzilla he does the atomic breath up at the aircraft carrier and Kong jumps off. When they do that long shot in the theater, yo, Kong looked like he was 12 feet tall in the theater. On my TV, maybe 1 inch. I was like, what the fuck? But I mean, again, the Dolby theater is like IMAX size in my
I feel like some of the wide shots are almost intentional because you get this big scale a lot of times with these shots with the close-ups and you feel the size of the monsters, but also you get the wide shots where they almost look like guys in rubber suits, and I feel that's intentional.
I think so, because and that's a great point, because I wanted to bring this up too. One of my favorite shots of this movie in the entire MonsterVerse, period, is when after the battle at sea, when this dude says shut everything down, and Godzilla comes up, they do a wide shot of him in the wreckage, all the fire of the ships in the water, and you just see the spikes. Holy crap! I was like, and on my TV, I was like, good God Almighty! Like, all the detail. It was like, you can smell Godzilla. That's how good it looked. I was like, motherfucker. Yeah. There were a lot of shots that were really done well. The wide shots like that.
What did you guys feel about this kind of controversial shot? It's literally split down the middle. I am of the side that I really love the shot for what it's trying to imply, but it's very silly if you really look at it from a surface level. It's where Godzilla first gets a good clean shot with his atomic breath on Godzilla's back, on Kong's back. Sorry. And it goes back to his face, and he physically smiles.
Remember GVK? I mean, GMK?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he smiles at King Ghidorah right before he blows his ass up?
Oh, yeah.
I ain't mad at it. Godzilla danced. Godzilla danced. You know what I'm saying?
To me, what that shot was signifying was this was no longer like a battle for supremacy. This was no longer a battle for survival. This was no longer even a battle of like fucking rival animals trying to fuck. No, this was Godzilla was starting to enjoy the fight for the fight's sake.
Which is the first time in the MonsterVerse.
He was trying to see if he could kill this thing.
They were literally starting to fight like warriors.
Yeah.
And he was trying to see if he could actually kill this thing. And when he found out he has that chance, then he took it. And then we saw. That's actually something I wanted to ask. Are we satisfied, though, with the outcome?
How could you not be?
Okay. I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, obviously, I love the fact that Godzilla pretty much killed Kong. And they had to do the King Kong Lives Easter egg and bring his heart back with a defibrillator. My girlfriend took that very personally because she has a defibrillator in her heart and she loved it. So
I feel that it is a very satisfying conclusion, even though I was Team Kong. I was Team Kong, and when I first realized when Kong was trying to get up and he fucking fell back down, I was like, no, monkey!
I'm glad at that outcome because I feel like it's still it lets Godzilla keep his King of the Monsters moniker, and it lets King Kong still have his success too. And none of them are taken away from each other, and I like that. That's what I wanted.
The shot before Kong fell, and it became like the final bell, like Kong's done, Godzilla wins. Where Godzilla is on top of Kong, fucking stomping on his chest and roaring in his face. It's like Godzilla was saying, submit.
Stay down.
Kong responded in kind, going, no.
No, I thought the battle was over. As soon as Godzilla started ripping Kong's chest apart.
Yeah.
I said, it's over. It's over. Here we go. But then I turned to my brother, the first video, and I turned to my brother. I go, John, remember the first time Godzilla was in Hong Kong? He goes, no. I said, Godzilla versus Destroyer. Guess what happened in that movie? He died. So I was nervous. I was like, he's going to win, but he's going to die. Thank God that didn't happen. Thank you, Adam Wingard. You are my second favorite Godzilla director for America.
And you know what's awesome? I love seeing the pictures going around right now of all the directors, because Gareth, Jordan, and Michael Dougherty, and Adam Wingard all being at the premieres with each other.
Well,
all there. I think that's awesome.
The fact that Jordan shaved his beard.
Oh shit! Well, was that no? That wasn't even a COVID beard because he had that beard during Skull Island. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I missed that beard. That was the most luxurious beard in the MonsterVerse. Come on now.
Well, he gave it to Kong.
He gave it to Kong.
That's what he did.
He did.
But he was like, "Oh, that's my dude. Let me give it to him." But I will say, Godzilla winning this, okay, as a Godzilla fan, as Team Godzilla, but I've always loved King Kong. But Godzilla is a giant atomic fire-breathing dinosaur, and that trumps everything before the MonsterVerse, okay? So when I watch King Kong versus Godzilla, Toho's own movie, and Toho is pretty much saying, well, Kong won because, you see Kong at the end. That was another throwback to this, by the way. Yeah, we got a really, I wouldn't say a bad ending with Godzilla because it wasn't bad. It was just kind of like, well, one and done. That was pretty much the motif of this movie. There wasn't a lot of Godzilla, and like Chase said at the beginning, it felt like a Skull Island sequel, and I'm not mad at that, right? We got Kong at the end. Same way. We got Kong at the end of the original. We got Kong at the end of this one. I was not mad. The fact is, Godzilla beat Kong. And not only one, Godzilla killed Kong twice. But Kong died 3 times in this movie. Twice. All 3 times he was saved by human intervention. Godzilla was drowning Kong. Depth charge. Kong was getting smothered by the warbats. Shoot the warbat. Kong got owned by Godzilla. Use the heave to resurrect him. Kong died 3 times, but that's the thing. I said this before. That's King Kong's motif, bro. He dies like Mothra. It's just what it is. Kong dies. I love that he didn't die like legit dead. But when Gia Gio put her hand on the floor and started crying, bro, my heart broke into a billion pieces, and I was like, "Come on, Godzilla, why you gotta be like that, bro? That's fucked up." I was like, "Damn, son." But let's not. While we're on homages, we got the homage we were looking for. I mean, I think any Godzilla fan was ready for this when we wanted it. We got the tree to the mouth.
We got the tree to the mouth. We did. It was so good.
It was so good. And I was like, Adam Wingard for the win. It was so good.
Can we just talk about how, like I said, I love the previous MonsterVerse movies for their own reasons, right? But Godzilla always kind of felt like this animalistic superhero that was there to like save the day. This is the first movie in the MonsterVerse where Godzilla felt like Godzilla.
Yeah.
You got him coming out of the water, slapping away fucking
the jets.
Planes and shit, atomic breathing buildings. Classic evil Godzilla.
Think about this.
Sure, there was an underlying reason why he was doing that. The tin can. it still was shot in a way to make it feel like it's classic, almost stereotypical Godzilla.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about that. I told my brother this. I think, with the exception of the Kiru movies, Godzilla if Mecha Godzilla is in a Godzilla movie, there is an oil plant, an oil field, some kind of weird ass oil looking, facility getting destroyed. The very first one, Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla. I mean, Godzilla pops up. They're in a fucking oil field. In Godzilla '93, when Godzilla comes to find Baby, he comes up. First place he's at, oil field. I don't think Kiru did that. Even when Kiru went bananas and went straight on old school, 54G.
No, there was no oil field.
No oil field
in either Godzilla against Mechagodzilla or Tokyo SOS.
I will say this, and I know this is gonna, probably be stupid, but in that blasted fucking second anime, Mechagodzilla City looked like an oil field. Like an oil field. And then this one, Apex, fucking Florida Apex facility, looked like an oil field. So seeing that, I was like, yeah, get him. Just all of this. Listen, this might have been, honest to God, and I take nothing away from Michael Dougherty for what he did, because he used 3 of Godzilla's most iconic, other monsters. This might have been the most homage paid to any and every, in both realms, Godzilla and Kong movies. The sub-level was 33. That's 1933. It's the birth of Kong. Was 1933. Like, there was so much shit happening. Like I said, in the Hollow Earth, those creatures, the crabs, and then that lizard thing. Go back. That's like the original Kong shit. The Peter Jackson Kong was paid homage to, looking at the fights. Kong using his feet. He never used his feet in 33
Kong
or 76.
Time tried to do the T-Rex fatality to Godzilla, and Godzilla's just like, nope.
Bro, when I saw, because that's Kong's fatality. That's his finishing move. In every single Kong movie, he rips the fucking jaw apart. That's what he does. I was like, no, don't do it. Fucking Atomic Breath, we rocking and re-rolling. I was like, hell yeah, bro. And I loved it, but there was so many homages to both series that, again, like Chase said, or again, and one of y'all said, the whole King Kong Lives thing, I think was Chase.
Yeah.
With the defibrillator.
It's kind of a layered reference, too, because you got the defibrillator aspect of it with King Kong Lives, but you also got the resurrecting with electricity, in particular, from King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yes, another great callback. I mean, there was so much, and that's why I say, when you go through the MonsterVerse history, I love with Garrett Edwards' setup. I love, and honestly, I wish what he set up was continued. I mean, it was technically, but to me, it didn't feel that way. Like, Skull Island works because it predates 2014, right? In terms of timeline, right? So yeah, that can work in that own thing. But what Michael Dougherty seemed to do was take the flow from Skull Island when he should have taken the flow from 2014 and make the movie more serious, more grounded. It didn't feel that way. But this one went, nope, we're going to do things our way. And I swear to God, this was definitely the rematch of the century. And
it was. And I that actually brings me to a point. Taking out this movie being in the MonsterVerse, looking at it as a versus movie between 2 cinematic icons, comparing it to the likes of Alien versus Predator, Freddy versus Jason, Frankenstein meets the fucking Wolfman,
X versus Seba.
I feel like this is still the best out of even those movies. I like this better than Alien versus Predator. I like this better than Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, if there was a contender, it would be Freddy versus Jason, in my personal opinion. I hate both AVP movies, right? The books are better.
Yeah.
And Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, when I saw that, it starts really well, but it falls flat on its face later on. This
See,
is
I'm a big fan of Predator and Alien, and I don't mind the Alien versus Predator films, but I mean, those are just kind of biased because I saw those when I was really young. I was like, 12, 13, but I don't know. Freddy vs. Jason to me holds a special place in my heart just because it was like the first versus movie I saw. But Godzilla versus Kong, it's hard to put it because I love both those characters, and it's almost another biased thing because I love those characters. But this movie was just so well done as a versus movie, and it didn't feel like it had that Batman versus Superman trope,
right.
but
It did though. It kind of did with Mechagodzilla.
a little bit towards the end. But I appreciate. I like that when Jaya's like Godzilla, not the enemy. And told Kong that's the enemy.
Yes.
Can we just talk about developing Kong's character to the point that he can speak?
Oh, I thought that was fantastic.
I love that. I loved every bit with Jaya and Kong in this movie. I loved it.
It kind of almost grounds the movie because real gorillas can sign.
Exactly.
You can teach them to do that.
Exactly. And that I thought was fantastic. And a great way to introduce even like the good characters like acting out in selfish ways. Hey, tell him his family's down there. Like that's fucked up. But nobody knew. But it's fucked up, right? So I mean, like shit like that. But here, oh god, this is why. Yeah, this is the best versus movie. This is the best versus movie. When Rebecca Hall's character, who's like now the mother figure to Jaya, goes to her and says, "Say, tell him his family's down there," in sign language, and she's like, "Are you sure?" She said family, and she told her, "I don't know," bro, because she wasn't lying to the little girl. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then the little girl got it. Like she understood. Okay, we're here. We're on a mission. Like, man, that right there, I was like, that's dope. Like that's just a small thing, but it works so well. I love that. Mm-hmm. Loved it. Man, listen, Kong knowing silent, and then he didn't want to say anything because he didn't trust you or he was afraid or whatever. And then she was like, "Well, now everybody knows, bro." I was like, "This is the difference between what Wingard was doing and Michael Dougherty was doing. Michael Dougherty was trying to remake Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
And
this was not trying to be a remake of King Kong versus Godzilla. This was right. Literally round
this 2. This is an original take.
Yeah.
And again, just like Final was, they added so many different flavors in terms of different genres. It worked. Like seriously, like again, more like they went from Star Wars to Mordor in 5 minutes, and I was sitting there like, what the fuck just happened? And I wasn't even mad.
When pacing, I originally had problems with pacing. I thought it was too fast paced. But then I kind of, with the subsequent viewings, I realized this fast paced leads to me never being bored.
Right.
I was never bored during this movie, and I can't say the same about certain parts of Godzilla 2014 and King of the Monsters.
Well, King of the Monsters now for me, whenever I put it on, it's mostly just background music now because that movie drags. And I think that's kind of what little trade has to be here with this. An hour, 53 minutes, that's actually a good runtime. And that's the thing, I agree. I was not bored at all. But also the pacing was just well. For a Godzilla movie, for a movie like this, the pacing was really well. And everything flowed correctly. The human scenes weren't too long to where you're like, oh, gross. Everything worked so well. And when the monsters came on, you're in it for the for the ticket for it, and and those scenes were handled, so they didn't seem half-assed. It wasn't like a little 5-minute scene where it's like, oh, one and done, and they're like, oh, okay, Kong punched Godzilla, and then Godzilla left. It actually felt like they had, all right, we're going to handle these monsters how they should be, and handle these scenes seriously how they should be, and professionally. And that's what it felt like. Whereas I feel like in King of the Monsters, those monster scenes that came up, some of them came up, they felt kind of well, maybe not King of the Monsters. What's an
Skull Island?
there's an example of some. There's something else I'm thinking of that might be doing that. Maybe it was 2014.
Nah, 2014 is a perfect movie. I'm sorry, I just got to disagree with
And
John.
like this had the traditional, like almost wrestling and boxing kind of motif where you got 3 rounds.
Yes.
And I'm sorry,
and the one who wins the most rounds is the winner overall.
Right.
And Godzilla won.
My callback I was making, it was to the first time when Godzilla pops up in Antarctica. It's like 30 seconds. When the Godzilla shows up, gets thrown into the ice pit, and that's it. And that's what I don't like stuff like that. Whereas, in this movie, like that first scene when Godzilla comes and fights Kong, and Godzilla's drowning Kong, constricting him, taking him to the depths of the underworld. I mean, holy crap. I did not expect to see that.
No.
I did not expect to see that, and I love that.
And you know what?
We love that.
And you know what I loved about that, too? After the depth charges went off and Kong came back up, he threw up the water. I loved it. I was like, that's a small attention to detail that we needed to see. Thank you, because he should have drowned. I loved it. I loved it, love. But because he's such a, he's a titan, lung capacity, but man, that was very important to me.
That was a large amount of water that he coughed up.
He sure did, because Isaac Gonzalez, when the boat flipped over, she throws up a little bit, like she spits up the water, and I appreciate that. But I was like, no, Kong's been under that water for way too long. He needs to gush. He needs to throw it up. And when he did, and even the sound he makes out there, he was coughing. He was like, ugh. Oh my God! And
then they're like, turn everything off, make him think he won.
Kong just faints on the boat. It's the greatest.
Their specific strengths and weaknesses. Kong was juking and jiving around the buildings like a monkey in Hong Kong. But that first round, it was all that was Godzilla's domain. His domain is the water. You see Kong trying to swim up like the monkey would, and then you got Godzilla just fucking slithering up like a goddamn shark and taking him.
Jaws. They said this Godzilla's gonna be like Jaws again in this movie.
Oh Jesus, who did that first? Oh yeah, that's right, Gareth Edwards, which is why that first movie is still my favorite. I don't know what it is. Again, I went into that movie thinking one thing, it gave me another, and I was like, wow.
Now, why do you guys think Godzilla didn't kill Kong?
Oh, because
Godzilla learned to respect Kong as a warrior almost, because Kong refused to bow to Godzilla. He refused, no matter what. Even when he was on death's door, Kong was like, "No, I refuse to bow to you."
Wrong. That's not even right. That's not even true. That's
what do you think?
That's as bad as Shin Godzilla is. That was terrible. What are you talking about? Kong said, oh shit, okay, and then passed out twice. Kong knew he couldn't fuck with Godzilla, and Godzilla was like, all right, he's dead. And not only that, the reason why I say this is because we don't know, like we said in the beginning, how Godzilla handled the other Titans. It pissed me off to no end, because in King of the Monsters, they all bow to him. Ghidorah, who is out for world domination, when Rodan bowed to him, he did not attack Rodan. So that's what pissed me off, because I was like, whoa, wait, they all bowed to Godzilla. Why is Godzilla going and attacking them then? Because at the end of King of the Monsters, he even says Rodan went to hibernate in a volcano. What? Godzilla went to the volcano just to fuck him up? Like, sucker. No, it's stupid. That bothered me. With Kong, Godzilla knew he was dead. He knew it. And Kong was dead.
Literally, it's been a thematic theme throughout the entire movie. You got the mother of Gia character saying Kong bows to no one. And then you got the moment of respect at the very end of the movie where Godzilla Godzilla and Kong are facing each other, and they look at each other like, "Are you gonna do this? Who's gonna make the first move?" And then Kong drops his axe. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to go home back to the Hollow Earth and be a monk.
That right there is even more proof. Kong dropped the axe. He said, "Okay, you know what? Nah, I ain't fucking with you." That's my point. I ain't fucking with you.
It's not submitting.
It's totally submission. What are you talking about? Well, you needed a ref to count to 3? Get out of here. He dropped the axe.
Recognizing each other as equals.
Hey, well, Jaya did tell Kong, hey, Godzilla's not the enemy.
Right.
So.
They literally saw each other eye to eye at the very end of the movie as equals. And they went their separate ways.
Listen, Godzilla beat him.
Godzilla becomes the king of the above world, and Kong becomes the king of the below world.
Godzilla beat him in his own element. Remember what Minya said back in the terrible Godzilla event? Godzilla's stronger under the water. Godzilla beat him in his own world, and then Godzilla beat him on his turf. His turf. He was jumping across buildings. Godzilla couldn't do that, and he beat him. He put his foot down. On his chest and said,
and thank you, Adam Wingard, for showing Godzilla's atomic breath like all the time in this movie.
Oh,
I mean, there was not a scene where Godzilla did not use his atomic breath, and I appreciate that.
And the atomic breath was beautiful because it was classic.
And it was
up.
a beam.
It was a beam.
Yes,
until the end. Beam. When he hits the axe at the end, it's not a beam. It looks like Gareth Edwards' beam, breath. It flows. Tired. What was that?
Yeah, it's because he's tired and spent.
Because Mechagodzilla.
And thus the atomic breath getting weaker and looking like Gareth Edwards' breath.
You know what makes me wonder? You know, when Mechagodzilla punched Godzilla and it almost had that blue essence on him, I wonder if it was absorbing radiation out of him.
No. The blue essence, because I thought about that when I watched it again this morning for the 4th time. That was them when they recreated the energy from the core. That core was from Godzilla. It was all blue. That's why when they were in the Hollow Earth, everything was like blue. The rocks were flowing. There was blue in there. I'm like, what the fuck? Everything was blue. Kong doesn't absorb radiation like that. Godzilla does, right? I can't lie. That was a gripe. First time I saw it in the movie, I'm like, wait. They're in the Hollow Earth. They just came out of the heaves, and they're totally fine. Serizawa was just underwater. I'm just saying.
Well, that was Godzilla's home, where there's probably a lot more radiation.
I don't want to hear it. He was just underwater. I don't want to hear it. I was like, what the fuck? But I digress, because I enjoy this shit.
Now I want to see Godzilla in the Hollow Earth, though. Like, imagine him doing the gravity jumps.
No. We don't want to see that, because we know now, because of this movie, if Godzilla's in the Hollow Earth, he becomes a fucking place rug. No. We don't want to see that. No.
Hey, we only think there's one Kong there, right?
So even though this was a pretty minor fight in the grand scheme of things.
Minor fight? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Warbats.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty minor fight in the grand scheme of things. But my IRL friend who I watched with my 4th viewing brought up a very interesting angle. Mythology-wise, the Warbats look just like classical depictions of Quetzalcoatl.
Oh. Okay. Really? Because Quetzalcoatl well, now when we say Quetzalcoatl, we're talking about like the legit depictions or the MonsterVerse depictions?
The legit depictions of a winged serpent.
Yeah. And I only bring that up because I own that movie Q, which is based off Quetzalcoatl. You know, Q, he's in Manhattan, Chrysler Building. Serpent. Yeah, Q, exactly. Q the Winged Serpent, great movie. I love it. Decapitation, crazy. But
it's an interesting. It's interesting to see the design process behind the Monsters of the Monsterverse, because they're taking a lot from mythology. Like, you look at Scylla and freaking Behemoth and all that, and then you got these that look exactly like classical depictions of Quetzalcoatl. What more from mythology could be down there?
Right. And that was the one thing I loved. I'm talking about real quick the Iwis and Skull Island, because we completely glossed over that. But the fact that the hurricane
closed in on Skull Island and surrounded it and made it uninhabitable for everything.
Oh man, when I tell you that shit was wrenching, I was like,
because we all thought that Skull Island was gearing up to just be renamed to Monster Island.
That and yeah, and the entrance to the Hollow Earth. I mean, I was guaranteed. It was like, well, the Skullcrawler came up from underground. That's where they're from. Speaking of Skullcrawlers making an appearance, and did y'all peep it? That was a giant Skullcrawler. That was no little one.
No, that was even bigger than the one in Skull Island.
Exactly, because the scale to Mechagodzilla, it was crazy. It was crazy. So I mean, I love that. Loved it. I wish they would have did a little more. You know what? No, not for nothing. They did. They did a shit ton of variety in this movie. They really did. And I respect that.
Like, I'm sorry to say this, it's my favorite in the MonsterVerse. It's one of my favorite Godzilla movies. It's one of my favorite Kong movies. This is just a blast from beginning to end.
And it's funny thinking about it. Like, I would have thought, like, I would have been more upset with the fact that Monarch didn't have that big of a role, but because of King of the Monsters, I'm kind of okay with it because we got those. I just hope like it
kind of enough development in KOTM.
Well, I feel like there's more you can do with Monarch, but if given the opportunity to do another film, I would hope that they kind of find that balance again to just kind of do a little bit more, but keep it to where it was like this, to where it wasn't oversaturated with human development where we're just like puking because it's boring, and keep it to where that, because I did kind of want Monarch to have a little bit more of a, but then it gets into a whole different thing where it's like Monarch having to help Millie Bobby Brown defeat the Apex base and stuff, which could have been cool, but then it goes into a whole different movie, So I'm kind of glad the way they did, but but
that was one of those things.
I love the Bernie guy, the podcast stuff, because that's what we do.
The conspiracy theorist guy, the classic conspiracy theorist podcaster. Bernie was great. I love that character.
I did too. He definitely was
fun. I felt for him because when he said his wife passed away,
Yeah, it was fun. But I will say, the entire Millie Bobby Brown situation, she didn't even need to be in this movie. Like, honestly.
Neither did Kyle Chandler.
Especially Kyle Chandler. It bothered me. But it was funny how they kind of went back to 2014 at the end of the movie when, there's Millie Bobby Brown running to her pops. The same way, little kid found, Wanda, Scarlet Witch. And I was like, whoa, okay. But it was just so...
Godzilla's roar, and you're like, oh shit, I forgot he's here.
Right, and that was it. And that's when Kong was like, you're right, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm going to put this down. My bad. You won. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Team Godzilla, baby, all the way.
And then Destroyer pops up.
I will punch you in a... You know what? I'm not going to punch you because you were wrong. I'm happy. Fuck that Destroyer shit. Oh my God, I'm so happy that didn't happen.
But you know what? Thinking about like the future of the MonsterVerse, if another Godzilla movie were to be made, I noticed that even with Godzilla vs. Kong, this man is still executive producing from beyond the goddamn grave.
Who?
Yoshimitsu Banno.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I feel that the next Godzilla movie should truly honor Yoshimitsu Banno and bring in Hedorah.
No. Unless it's a Toho thing. Unless it goes Toho. Because here's the deal. And, before seeing this movie, I was so for this being the end of the MonsterVerse. I really was. I was like, well, it ends here. It's the end. But then I saw this movie 4 times. And I'm like, no. We can't end this movie.
By the way, people are saying too. It's not just you, and I'm happy about that.
Right. Yeah, by the way,
hashtag continue the MonsterVerse.
Hashtag continue the MonsterVerse.
I could have sworn it was trending at one point.
Well, it was.
They need to
more MonsterVerse.
Look. Look, and here's where I go crazy as a geek. The Snyder Cut of Justice League came out because of a hashtag, right? I thoroughly enjoyed that 4-hour epic more, and I liked the original 2017 Justice League, but I was like, oh shit, this is way different, and oh my God, yeah, there's certain scenes that are the same, but it's in a different context. So I was like, this is dope. And yes, at the end of the movie, I was like, yo, they need to continue the Snyderverse. That being said, I was content with this being the last movie, and then I saw it. And then I saw it again, and again, and again. And I said to myself, no. Hashtag continue the Monsterverse. This was dope. And honestly, it catapults it into a completely different level. Again, the sci-fi,
movie,
the fantasy.
I feel like the MonsterVerse is now the closest cinematic universe to reach the level that the MCU is at. Because the MCU is up here. You had the MonsterVerse kind of like here, but it kind of elevated it to like here.
I would love
still up here. Well, the MonsterVerse is like here.
I would love to agree with you, but on the unfortunate tip, I must say you have things like, and I love Transformers, but I don't like those Michael Bay movies. I love Bumblebee, but you have shit like that. You have the Fast and the Furious franchise. You know what I mean? Like these things, they're making franchises. I mean, dude, if there was one thing I fucking regretted about seeing this movie in the theaters for the first time before I saw it at home was the trailers. Because I had to sit through the Fast and the Furious, and I was like, hell no. Hell no. And I'm here to watch a giant radioactive dinosaur fight a giant monkey. And I couldn't believe anything that was happening in that Fast and Furious trailer. I was like, no, this is stupid. This fucking retarded. No, I can't watch this shit. No. Right? And yet again, I'm here to see a giant radioactive dinosaur fight a giant monkey. So when I say like when I hear like the franchise that is right there with Marvel, I want it to be, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't, and unfortunately with the pandemic, granted, yeah, it made 130+ million in China alone over the weekend. This movie needs to make like $500 million by next weekend.
It's probably done.
Huh?
It's probably done.
I hope
it
so.
It literally made $9 million here in the States.
They gave it also 3 next weeks for the box office run.
Hang on, Chase. What did you say, Gams?
I said it made $9 million here in the United States on its first day, and that's a weekday. That's a Tuesday.
It was
where
Wednesday.
Everybody's working and at school.
It was Wednesday, by the way. But Chase, now what you was gonna say?
Sorry, say that one more time.
You were saying something before I stopped you.
They also are giving Godzilla vs. Kong 3 extra weeks for a box office run.
That's right, because they pushed Mortal Kombat back 1 week.
Yeah.
So that's important too. But again, I mean,
yeah, it's going to be starting to release all over the place. For a $200 million movie and it already made $140 million at the box office. We don't know how much. Same thing with King of the Monsters. We don't know how much money it was in the marketing. But what I'll say is I feel like Godzilla vs. Kong is going to be more successful than King of the Monsters by far.
No, you gotta
understand. You gotta understand. King of the Monsters was a $250 million film.
You look at the I know everybody says fuck the critics and don't even pay attention to shit like this. But this is important. This is the first MonsterVerse movie where both the critic and the audience score are high. It's certified fresh. And it's got a 90 with the audience score.
Yep, 80% critics, 95 audience. I love it.
I will say, if this movie only costs $200 million to make, I'm blown away by that because of what we saw.
And I can't understate that watching this with my normie, not Godzilla fan friends, and they loved it. This is appealing to the normies, and it's finally hitting that general audience appeal.
Yeah.
Right, but the question is, and this is where I play a little bit of the devil's advocate, is because as much as I love a continuation of the MonsterVerse, if they did another one, would it also appeal to an audience like it did with Godzilla vs. Kong? Because I feel like Godzilla vs. Kong, the reason why it's getting the success it is, for one, I don't know if it has to do with the pandemic, because people can be like, we can see it or not. But the fact is that trailer still stands as one of the best trailers ever made.
75 million.
You know, that stands as one of the best trailers ever made, and I think we kind of suspected this because we were all talking about it like this. We even said months ago, maybe a year ago, Godzilla versus Kong is probably going to be the best one of the MonsterVerse. We said that, right? You said that. You said you're in. Maybe the exact quote is, "There should be no reason why Godzilla versus Kong it isn't the crowd pleaser that it's supposed to be." And look what it's doing. And but the thing is what we're shocked about is like during this pandemic, it's making as much money as it is. And the fact is, imagine what it would be like if we weren't in this pandemic. How much money would it have actually made?
Well,
exactly, and like it really can't be understated that the people will probably vote with their wallets.
And Andrew, hold on just 1 second.
It will tell Legendary that this is the style of movie. This is the hit. This is the one. This is the way that they should make the future MonsterVerse movies.
Yeah.
This is how they should do it, and they will continue to do it like Godzilla vs. Kong if it is as successful as it's projected out to be.
And not just that, but they're saying right now on HBO Max, it's the #1 film being viewed right now, and they're saying it's a record number for it. It's like they said they had a huge increase in subscriptions just for Godzilla versus Kong, and they're saying it's the biggest viewing they have right now, which is expected, but this movie is not going to be a failure, I think.
No,
it's already on track for the success. So
I just want to say real quick, if there was no pandemic, Godzilla vs. Kong wouldn't be as this successful. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I love this movie. I absolutely adore this movie. And yes, it didn't take me 4 viewings. It took me 2. And I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. The third one, I'm like, this movie's dope. And then again, the 4th viewing by myself, I was like, this movie is, like, I fucking love it. And it is. It's a good movie, and it appeals to everybody. That's the thing. It appeals to everybody. You got a lot of old school purists that ain't going to like it, but this movie does appeal to everybody on a broader scale. It would not make the type of numbers you would think if there was no such thing as a pandemic.
Yeah,
it was in the wrong spot.
The pandemic might actually help this movie because people are so depressed.
Exactly.
That they're craving that dumb escapism. And Godzilla vs. Kong is delivering that.
And that's the thing, too. You got a lot of people now, and not to get political, but just to, look at the facts. A lot of people are vaccinated. They're getting vaccinated. I mean, I got my first shot on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, I literally got, and I wasn't even going to get vaccinated. But I wound up doing it because I was convinced. Anyhow, but a lot of people are vaccinated. So, this is the only movie that's really out. You have this, you got Nobody, that came out that I think is in the John Wick universe. But this is the spectacle. This is what gets people into the theater. This is what gets asses in seats, And now that you have, the vaccination and people are getting vaccinated, I'll be honest with you. The first show yesterday, 1:00, in our row, there was, and I swear to God, when I say this, I mean this. I'm like, oh my God, this is why I love, it just brings people out. There was a young lady, I wouldn't say that young, but she had 2 daughters who were both there. All right, so let's say 3 girls. And they were here to watch Godzilla vs. Kong. And I'm sitting there like, good Lord Almighty, look at y'all. Like, that melts my heart. But then the littlest one, that was all the way at the aisle seat, started coughing uncontrollably. And I was like, oh shit. Even though I got vaccinated, I put a mask on, I put 2 masks on, and I put my shirt over my nose. I said, oh my God. I can't lie, I was freaking the fuck out. My second viewing, nobody coughed. It was good. So I was like, oh, maybe she was coughing on popcorn, Maybe she got popcorn stuck in her throat. I don't know. But it was crazy, and the little girl was probably like 5 years old, maybe 6. But the fact was, there was a mother who brought her 2 daughters to see Godzilla vs. Kong. I said, good God Almighty.
You know what? I'm so glad you say that. I don't know if you're done, but I have to add to this.
No, go ahead.
Well, last night when I went to dinner, where I was at, the theater was right across the street from the restaurant. We were sitting out, we were dining in, and there was a family. There was a family sitting across from us, and they were all wearing Godzilla shirts. And I'm like, oh, and the little kids started talking about Godzilla and Kong. And I'm like, that melted my heart. And then like, I wanted so bad to engage in this conversation, but I didn't want to be the creepy 26-year-old, 25-year-old talking to these kids.
Nah, I hear you, bro. I mean, look, I had my I had my Team Godzilla shirt on. I bought one for my brother. I had my Team Godzilla mask.
You saw the picture I posted of me and my mom and everyone.
Yeah, so I mean, look, it was fun. It was a spectacle. And you know what? Again, while it would bring people out to the theaters because of the vaccinations and people feeling safer across the globe, you look at Gam Gam situation. The theaters aren't open yet. There yet. You know what I mean? And that's unfortunate.
I will say, I think from now on, I would like to see MonsterVerse movies come out in March. I really like this March 31st date because it gave me something to look forward to in the middle of the spring. Or the beginning of the spring. Instead of having to wait for the summer.
This shit should have came out in November the way I originally wanted it to because it would make more sense. I mean, Godzilla is the king of the monsters. Came out in November. I mean, I'm just saying. I would have loved it, but I get it. And you know what? I can't even be mad anymore. We saw the movie already. I can't be mad. We saw the movie. And it's available for the next month if you want on HBO Max. And I'm going to watch it again and again and again and again. I'm going to watch it. I really do love this movie.
And I'm going to buy the collector edition with the Godzilla and Kong figure. And just can't wait to get that SHMA Mechagodzilla.
I can't wait to get the SHMA myself because I have that thing on pre-order.
Yeah, but
the only Godzilla vs. Kong SH Monsters that I have not pre-ordered yet is Godzilla himself because it's literally just a repaint of the 2019.
Yeah,
with blue in his mouth.
I could see that.
And I already own the 2019 one, so why get a second one? So I'm just gonna get the monkey. I'm gonna get Mechagodzilla when he comes out, and that'll be all she wrote. It's gonna be great.
So all right, yeah. I want to wrap this up. We didn't even we reviewed the movie. We didn't go into details, but we hit all the major parts of it. Seriously, this one is one of those movies where if you're a fan, this is for you. If you know your stuff, you're gonna get everything out of it. And I was sitting in this theater twice in a row, and I was just, ooh, that one. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh Jesus. They really, really, really do a good job of paying homage without overdoing it. And I love that about this movie. And then when I came home, like I said, it could have been a theater. I don't know. But my TV, it looked better on my TV, and I seen it twice there. And I was like, oh my God. And this morning when I was watching it by myself, I was like, yep, there's no doubt in my mind. This is the second best MonsterVerse movie. If it wasn't for 2014, and I love that movie, this is my favorite MonsterVerse movie. But I just love the way 2014 set everything up. But what I will say is I never thought in a million years the way that set up, it was going to lead to this. There's no way. And again, it's so different. That 2014 movie is based in realism. This movie is based on the Avengers universe, Avatar, Pacific Rim. Classic Godzilla in all freaking forms, from Showa to Heisei to freaking Millennium. Oh my God. Hey, if you even want to get into that Shin Godzilla stuff, absolutely, because like I said before, those monsters in the freaking, Hollow Earth, they got spines on their backs that's very reminiscent of 2014's Godzilla. It's kind of like Shin Godzilla when he was mutating. I'm just saying. When
Godzilla was atomic breathing the ground, it almost reminded me of Shin Godzilla when he did his atomic breath scene.
I you know what? That's funny you brought that up because I swear to God I was going to ask you that. I was going to talk to you about that when I watched it this morning. The difference was Shin Godzilla was totally destroying the city. His shit never penetrated the ground, it became napalm around the city itself.
Yeah.
You know, this Godzilla, he drilled through the earth. He
drilled through
the core. And I love that. And that's the thing.
Tell King Kong, get the hell up here and square up right now.
And that's the whole thing. And that's why, no offense to anybody Team Kong, that's why Godzilla in the MonsterVerse is better than Kong, is because he's in tune with all of this stuff. He recognizes, he feels it. That's what I loved about this movie. The idea from the beginning, when Kong throws the tree into the biodome, you're like, what the fuck's going on? And then they explain, well, they have a biodome so that Godzilla can't sense Kong because he'll come for him. And I thought that was brilliant. It's brilliant. I'm like, oh my God, that's dope.
I also wonder. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, technically, we didn't see the King Ghidorah skull get destroyed, so maybe they could do more with that.
Nah, that shit is done. It's done.
I mean, I that would be interesting, but personally, I feel with the MonsterVerse, they did the big five. It's time to move on to the more obscure.
It ain't gonna happen. As much as I want it. Because here's the deal, and I said this a million times before. What Michael Dougherty did right is he followed Gareth Edwards. Okay? What Gareth Edwards did was he only used Godzilla and then he created his own thing. Michael Dougherty didn't do that. He used Godzilla and then used the main guys, like Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah. But he also created his own thing. The rest of the Titans. And that was the key right there. That was the key right there. And all we got from that key was an intro saying, defeated. No! But now we're in Hollow Earth. And yes, there's so much more to explore down there. And Godzilla's still around up top. And Kong's hanging out down below because that's where Kong belongs. Underneath Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying, it's not my fault.
Just taking shots at me.
Oh, that's not my fault. That's in the movie. I didn't make that up. It's there. Team Godzilla all the way, baby. That's why it's called the Godzilla Block Party.
Kong in the dirt.
What?
I guess you could say Godzilla put Kong in the dirt.
He definitely did. Listen, that's why this podcast is called the Godzilla Block Party, not the Kong Block Party. The Godzilla Block, because Godzilla is the best of all time giant monsters. I don't care. You could disagree with me, but you'll be wrong. That's all I'm saying. Especially when it comes to shit.
All I'm saying is I agree with you. He is the all-time best giant monster, but he would not exist without Kong.
That's true. I can't argue that.
20,000 fathoms.
No, it was
the beast from 20,000 fathoms would not exist without Kong.
That's true. Also, Kong came first. He is apparently the first giant monster, and I do not disagree with that. But if you're trying to tell me that Kong could be Godzilla,
be better though.
Huh?
You think she'd be better though?
Right, you would. I mean, what was it? 5 movies, 6 movies. Godzilla, 20 plus, 30 plus. I don't even know where we're at right now. But the fact what?
I think it's 37.
37. Jesus, you sure that's not confused with James Bond?
And then they want to do 7 more films, and then that's one thing I was gonna say. You realize this month Singular Point comes out?
Yep, and that's the best part about everything. Is not only do we get Godzilla vs. Kong, that's still going to be streaming, but we also get Singular Point, which, if I'm not mistaken, the first couple episodes are already up online. Not on Netflix, you got to go get it, but in Japan, they're already out. That's not bad.
Britain gets another season.
That brings me to one of my final points. A lot of people who I've talked to who are more lukewarm with the film say that it relies too heavily on stereotypical depictions of Godzilla. in this, and it kind of hurts the franchise. But I feel that America relying on the stereotypical depictions of Godzilla works because you got Toho on the other side over here doing their experimental shit with like anime and stuff.
Right.
What is that though? What is that though? An example of a stereotypical Godzilla.
Giant lizard comes out of the ocean, goes roar, destroys the military and destroys the city.
So how Godzilla's always been?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I honestly don't like what Toho's doing with Godzilla, so that's the thing. I like the American stuff better, but that's just me.
Well, we don't know what Toho's gonna be doing.
Traditional.
We don't know what Toho's gonna be doing from this point out. And honestly, the
way I don't really like the Godzilla in Singular Point right now, but I guess we'll find out.
I'm not even mad because I haven't seen it yet. I mean, again, looks could be deceiving.
The only thing I can say for sure right now is he a thick boy. He's
got big glutes.
He is thick. That's not even.
Anyways, I actually got to get going.
If I had to give Godzilla vs. Kong a score,
yes, let's do that.
9 out of 10.
All right.
What was that?
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Brother Chase.
Ooh, to me, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. And he's only seen it once, folks. I'm going to go with, I'm going to give it no score. Whatever my score is going to be better than King of the Monsters and Skull Island. But 2014 is still my favorite MonsterVerse movie. This is definitely second, but it is right there. It's not even. It is right there. It is knocking on the door. Matter of fact, it's opening the door. They're breaking into the house. That's how I feel about Godzilla vs. Kong. It is.
Yeah, I agree. To me, this feels like Godzilla vs. Kong could have been the beginning of the MonsterVerse.
It's such a fun movie. It makes, even though some parts may not make sense, just watch it for what it is. It is the final wars, legit, of the MonsterVerse. And I don't hate Final Wars. I love it. So, in that regards, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for our almost 2-hour spoiler review of Godzilla vs. Kong. We'll be back. Don't miss us. We'll be back soon. We're going to get my brother JR's opinion up here within the next few days. But that being said, I want to thank my brother Gam for joining us on this awesome Godzilla vs. Kong spoiler review.
Shout out to all my Team Monkey fans.
Shout out to the Team Loser. You're right. You're absolutely right. And of course, couldn't do it on my right hand man. Motherfucker, you better get some sleep tonight. I love you. My brother Chase, a.k.a.
Godzilla
Megzy.
won the fight, but Kong won the movie.
No, he didn't. Maybe he did. Brother Chase, thank you so much for being on here.
Oh, it was a blast being here talking to you guys. I can't wait to talk into more about like speculations of stuff, for what goes next. I love it. It's a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. And Legendary, I know you're not listening, but if anybody is who knows anybody in Legendary, y'all did it with Pacific Rim. Now make a Netflix Monarch verse happen. If not, throw it on HBO Max. Everybody will subscribe. They're going to see you. That'll do it. I am G1. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This is the Godzilla vs. Kong